Welcome to Lifting Leaders Podcast, where we are unleashing leader possibilities to make a better world. I'm Crystal Roberts, and together with Trisha Ryan, we're diving deeper into some of the complexities of the world's most critical challenges and exploring innovative ways of navigating through them.
Through interviews with experts and leaders just like you, we're exploring what it takes to thrive as a leader today and examining new ways of thinking about how to creatively lead into a more equitable, socially responsible, and sustainable future. And the future starts now. Hey, Crystal.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great now that I know that I don't melt when I get in the rain.
Did you think that you melted before?
I thought perhaps this morning I had to go to an appointment and it was raining. Like when I got out of the car, it was like actually really raining. It kind of sprinkled all the way to the appointment.
Yeah.
And the minute I got out of the car, it just like the bucket got tipped over.
Oh.
And I thought, what the heck? I walked in, I was like 5 seconds from the door. It wasn't like I was like, a mile. So I didn't have to walk in the rain, but I walked in there and I looked like I'd been sitting in it for a while. This sucks. But I did find out I did not melt. I guess that means I'm not the Wicked Witch of the West.
No, you're definitely not the Wicked Witch of the West.
That's a new realization for me.
No, definitely not. You're with the person with the superpower of connection.
How are you doing? How's your week gone?
I'm doing good. Yeah. It was a busy week and had a lot of fun connections with some new people, and that was fun. So I'm enjoying, as we sort of start to get into the holidays, kind of this mindset of connection and creating more opportunities for that. And that's been really fun.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to kind of talk a little bit about today. This is our annual Thanksgiving drop.
It's cool that we can say annual, and it really is now.
Yeah, it is.
It's no longer our first annual or our second annual.
We got a lot of episodes. Yeah. I found this really cool article.
Yeah.
And it was super easy to find too, which I loved. It was one of the first things that came up when I did a search. And it had a lot of really great ideas of how to have a more eco-friendly Thanksgiving. And when I read through the article, I thought, hey, there's a lot of these things that I can actually do. And one of the things that I really liked about it too is that it encourages you not to get overwhelmed with everything, but to pick one or two things, which goes along with what we would say. It's small shifts over time that make the big impact. And so we thought we would unpack this a little bit. I think our listeners will really enjoy it. And there's enough time, even though this is Monday of Thanksgiving week when we're dropping this. So it's close to the time. I think there's a few things that people can probably shift, even though it's just right around the corner.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. One of the things I liked about this article, and I don't normally always want to like wallow in the negative part of it, but they're giving you a reality check.
Yeah.
And they're just focusing really primarily on Thanksgiving. And so to me, it was kind of astonishing to see some of these statistics because I had no idea. But yeah, I thought this was the best article actually for not going crazy and saying, okay, the article's got to have these elements and I really want it to, we spin on that sometimes. And the first article that came up just happened to be an amazing article.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's called Eco-Friendly Thanksgiving Ideas, 7 Simple Ways to Cut Waste in 2025. And it's written by Danielle Alvarado. Yeah. And it actually came out in October of this year. And it's part of kind of a series that is put out by this group called Sustainable Kind Living. Anyway, check it out.
Yeah, I think, and if you do pick up this article, you'll notice it's got a lot of links in it. So, and the cool thing is that the links all seem pretty interesting to me.
Yeah,
it's like, wow.
We're only going to share a couple things that, you could spend a lot of time on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I thought one of the things right out of the gate that they said was sort of interesting was, of course, we all know that for those of us here in the United States, anyway, Thanksgiving is one of the most kind of cherished holidays of the year. It's actually one of my favorites because it has a little less stress, I think, than some of the other holidays. And the real focus is on family and bringing people together, family and friends. And so I love that. The focus is really more about the connection and a little bit on the food. But gosh, I did not realize that it is actually one of the most wasteful, though, as well.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, they say Americans generate about 25% more trash between Thanksgiving and New Year's. And we already produce a lot of trash.
Yeah.
The statistic they came up with for Thanksgiving Day alone is, and this is scary, this is just in the United States.
Yeah.
305 million pounds of food are wasted on Thanksgiving alone. That's like yams and pie and dressing and gravy and
turkey.
Yeah. Wow.
And they make the point that most of that ends up in the landfills, and they release methane, a greenhouse gas even more potent than CO2.
And one thing that goes with that is even if it doesn't go if you don't have it go in the landfill, you're still dealing with a huge amount of CO2 because the traditional turkey dinner, just making it and getting it to the table and all that, growing and all that, it's 64 pounds of CO2.
Yeah.
Just in one family, basically. That's incredible.
And then they said, think about things like the cost of people traveling, even in our cars, plastic decor. So a lot of us are trying to reduce the amount of effort that goes into it.
Yeah.
Might have plastic decor or decorations, paper plates.
Make it easier.
Make it easier. There you go. Disposable tableware. And I love how they put this. They said the holiday starts to look a lot less thankful for the planet. It's like, let's not forget the planet when we're talking about Thanksgiving.
But you have to admit, it is kind of nice to not have to do dishes after a holiday, especially when there are a lot of people in your home, right?
Yeah.
And then you're thinking, oh, okay, all of the pans and pots, all of the everything. Yep. It can be overwhelming.
Yeah. And again, remember, for some people, that's about the only way they're going to get through it, right? But where we can do something different, we can give it a try.
They say even one swap, even just doing one thing can make a big difference, right?
Yeah. And in our house, I host, and I actually do really love having nice like china or plates on the table. My kids are never too excited about what happens after because they've got to wash the dishes. But I was thinking, maybe this year I'll give in. But given this article, I'm like, nope, I think we're going to wash dishes again
I'll
this year.
be washing dishes.
Sorry,
at
guys.
Your house. Well, and the cool thing is they came up with a lot of really cool things, not just about your meal, but about how you decorate your house and how the things that you do to make the surroundings more festive. And they really talk about, instead of using plastic things that are, any kind of decoration that's plastic or cardboard or anything like that, to bring in some of nature, pumpkins and squash and things like that make great scapes, right? Like moment, like a little pile of pumpkins or something in a corner can be really very festive. And I like lately, because I've seen a lot of it, is wheat, dried wheat, and they're on long stalks, and you can stick them in a tall vase or something, and that could be really very pretty with a brown cloth ribbon around the thing, or a checkerboard one, something like that.
Yeah, we are actually going to be repurposing. So we had a wedding. Anybody who's a regular listener knows we had a wedding in our family. We're going to repurpose some of the decorations that were on the table at the wedding because it was a fall-focused wedding. So, and put those on our table this year.
And it was so creative. It's just, it's simple, creative, elegant, right?
Yeah.
I think that'll be lovely.
Yeah. I also put pumpkins and squash out on the front porch, so sort of a decoration as people come in. And we grew some spaghetti squash not super successfully this year in our garden, but we did have a couple of them. And so one of them that was probably not going to be edible, it had some, I think the slugs got to it.
Ew.
But it had a really cool, it's yellow and it had a cool look on one side anyway.
Yeah.
So I used it as a decoration for the front of our house.
That'd be good contrast to the orange and other colors of pumpkins. And I don't know about anybody else, but in our area, you can go to the local grocery stores around here. We do have a lot of grocery stores in our area that they stock their produce areas with locally grown produce, sustainably grown produce and stuff. And so I really love that. But I love, we have a store called Hagen's, and I love going, they have a big truck, an old truck sitting out in front, and, with bales of hay, hail. But they have great pumpkins, and they're all different colors and all different shapes, and it's like so interesting. I just love that. You can really do a lot with that, and you don't have to throw those pumpkins away when they're done.
No, in fact, they were sharing with us a bunch of ideas that we can do with those pumpkins when we're done. And I also thought it's kind of important to think about, and I really hadn't thought about this before, is what kind of pumpkins you use, like for your Halloween, decorating for that. And so if you use a sugar pumpkin, you can use those for roasting, for making smoothies.
Pumpkin pie, pumpkin bread.
Yes.
Yeah, pumpkin cookies. I mean, there are so many things you can do. I like using sugar pumpkins a lot. And usually at this time of year, I have 3 or 4 of them because I like to bake them. And once they're baked, I put them in cheesecloth and let all the water drain out so that it's really just the meat, like you would get in a can of pumpkin.
Yeah.
I put it in a container and stick it in the freezer, and it lasts for months.
Yeah.
So you can make a pumpkin soup with that. It's really good.
Yeah. The seeds are really tasty too. You can roast the seeds.
With salt.
With salt. Maybe a little butter too.
Yeah.
They said an estimated 1.9 billion pounds of pumpkins are grown in the U.S. each year. Roughly 1/3 of those are discarded after Halloween. And in the U.K., it's estimated that 18,000 tons of pumpkins are thrown out annually.
That just blows my mind. I know they're a smaller country, but that's a lot. That's a lot of pumpkin.
Yeah. And of course, it's the same issue, right, with the pumpkins, that as they break down in landfills, it produces methane gas and greenhouse gas. It's up to 84 times more potent than CO2.
And that's not really funny at all. I don't know if anybody else listening is from California or has spent time in California, but I remember when I was in high school, one of our landfill areas, it had a fire, and it burned, and it burned for days. And it's not that, methane burns off real fast, but there was so much waste, and it was, they turn it into the soil, but the soil is just that waste too, and if they do that every week or every day or however often they dump in the landfill, that's still fresh stuff that's getting hot. And then when it gets hot, it produces methane, and the next thing you know, it's dangerous to even be around. You don't want to breathe that stuff.
Yeah.
But just a person flicking a cigarette out, can cause a really big disaster that doesn't just affect that and the place where it is. It affects all the homes in the area for probably a mile or 2 out, and the exposure is terrible for animals and everything else. So, it's I hate to be the downer on that, but it is something to be really mindful of. Is that the more junk we throw into our landfills, into our trash, becomes that.
Yeah.
And what is that doing to us overall?
Yeah. They said that each year more than 1 billion pounds of pumpkin end up in landfills across the U.S. A couple of other creative ideas that they had, I thought I would share here. Join or host a pumpkin smash event.
Yeah. That's a cool idea.
I thought that sounded like fun. That creates connection. And then, of course, then you compost those smashed pumpkins. And the other thing was to donate pumpkins to local farms or zoos for animal feed. I thought that was really creative too, and might be kind of a fun field trip.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome field trip.
All right, that was just a little trip down pumpkin lane there.
But one more thing, though. I mean,
Yeah.
if you have any yard at all and you
Yeah.
have a pumpkin that, is done after Thanksgiving or Halloween, you can always scoop the pumpkin seeds out, let them dry, and then use them in the soil. You can have your own pumpkins next year, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
save the seeds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so number 2. That was number 1.
I've gone on number 3.
Serve more veggie sides.
Yes.
I love that.
Me too.
And makes it healthier for you as well. That was really cool.
Yeah.
So they're saying, think about, can you buy a smaller turkey?
Yeah.
And then fill up the table with extra vegetable-based sides.
I grew up in a family that did use a lot of vegetables. Our turkey was sort of the centerpiece, but not everybody in the family loved turkey. So we always had different things, probably, different squashes and potatoes and,
Brussels sprouts and
all sorts of goodies.
Yeah.
It's delish.
Yeah. 3 is shop local and sustainable.
Yes.
I love that. Where can you support your local farmers? And that also helps a lot of times just the quality too. Mm-hmm. And the taste of the produce that you get is so much better.
Absolutely. It's like if you ever go to a farmer's market, we go to the farmer's market. And one of the reasons I like that is that the produce tastes like what I believe it should taste like.
Yeah.
It hasn't been sitting in a warehouse somewhere getting older. It is actually straight from the farm, if not that day, the day before.
Yeah.
And it's so much better for you. And it's delicious, and they grow wonderful, wonderful produce, here in the Pacific Northwest and in the West in general.
Yeah.
It's great.
It also reduces the carbon emission because it's shorter miles, transportation miles. So they're not trucking this across the country. It's from your local community, and it supports someone in your community.
Yes.
I love that. It helps those families too.
Yeah. Anything you can do, I think, to get something locally for Thanksgiving is such a great idea. You could be thankful for those farmers who are working so hard in your area and not having to eat something that is coming from across the country in many cases.
Yeah.
Same goes for your turkey, though. Most states have some kind of turkey farm, and you can contact them. They usually have an advertisement in, some social media or something at certain times of the year, and they'll ask you to place an order. If you want a turkey, place your order and tell them how big of a bird you need approximately, and they'll dress the turkey for you and everything. But these are things that are free range, and they're organic, and they're not kept in a cage. So you get a really good bird, and the taste is different. It's very different when you have a turkey or even a chicken, something like that, that is not brought up in a cage and overfed, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Turn veggie scraps into compost or garnishes. Less waste, more flavor. And I thought that was a really interesting one. They were talking about turning carrot tops, celery leaves, or potato peels, using them in soups. Mm-hmm. And they can make broths or garnishes for dishes.
Well, in cooking schools, that's how they make broth, is all of the stuff, the peels from the carrots and the tops and the bottoms and potatoes, you name it, celery, onions, any kind of vegetable, pretty much, squash even. Throw it in. You can put it in a cheesecloth and stick it in water and let it cook, or you can just throw it in there and then strain it afterwards, and you have vegetable broth. That's basically how vegetable broth is made.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
I think I want to try that. I think that sounds really interesting, kind of fun to experiment with. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And leftover bread can become stuffing.
Yes.
Or croutons.
Yes.
I love that. Pumpkin rinds and seeds can be roasted for snacks.
I could go for that.
Yeah.
I liked they had options that you could, some alternative things you could have if you wanted a fully plant-based Thanksgiving dish, stuffed butternut squash, which I think
Yeah.
I love butternut squash, and mushroom Wellington.
Isn't
And
that interesting?
yeah,
Yeah.
my parents always had beef Wellington at certain times of the year,
Yeah.
but the traditional beef Wellington has a layer of liver. You know,
Oh.
it's like pate that they put over the thing, and then they wrap it with a puff pastry, and then you cook it. Well, they knew that my sister and I would never eat it.
Never eat
and
it.
it wasn't like we were big,
Yeah.
Wellington people anyway. But my mom used to just put raw mushrooms through Cuisinart.
Yeah.
And then once they'd been finely chopped, then she would saute them in butter and then lay them on top of the beef and then put the puff pastry on. It was way better tasting.
Interesting. Huh. Yeah. And lentil loaf. So I love this idea of replacing a traditional dish with a plant-based favorite dish.
Yeah.
And they even were talking about with your desserts. So a dairy-free pumpkin pie or a vegan apple crisp. Both those sound wonderful.
Pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah.
This could be a year that we need to do some experimenting.
I think so. Yeah. So number 6 is make Thanksgiving about giving back.
Yes.
So a little less focus on the food and more about how can we help our neighbors.
You had a great idea, Crystal. You want to share that?
So I'm going to check in with my daughter. For those loyal listeners know that she and I went a few weeks ago because we went to Costco and filled the back of her car up with stuff that the school had said the kids needed because of the SNAP benefits not being available. And so I thought, I bet they're running out of stuff now. So what is it? What's running low? And I'm going to ask everybody that's coming to my Thanksgiving to bring those things that are running low so that she can replenish the stock.
I think it's a beautiful idea. And I think we need to remind people that SNAP may be back in play again because the budget was approved, but it takes time to recover.
Yeah.
So no matter how much time has gone by, we need to assume that people don't have all the food that they need, or they don't have all the money they need yet.
Yeah. Also, there's a lot, practically in every grocery store and lots of other places, there are opportunities to donate. A lot of churches are doing things.
Yeah.
This is a great time to donate food, give money to your food bank, your local food bank, or if you have time, to volunteer at a soup kitchen or any kind of organization where they're providing food for people during this holiday time.
Meals on Wheels. Senior folks or people with limited ability are not always able to get out to get their food. And there are many, many people who are older that rely on Meals on Wheels for their daily food. But at Thanksgiving, it'd be wonderful if, people could go and deliver Meals on Wheels for people in need. And they're delivering Thanksgiving, which is really great.
Yeah. And number 7 was honor Native voices and history. I really loved that, and I think that's really important. We've kind of talked about this one, I think, some of our years past, but sharing with your guests, what is the actual Thanksgiving history and experience of Native people during this time? To read and share resources from Native-led organizations, supporting Indigenous-owned businesses, or donating to community funds. And even you can read a land acknowledgement at your gathering. Where does your house sit? On what Native land?
Well, and where we live in the Pacific Northwest, every bit of our land, we are on the land of Indigenous people. So, we have nothing to be but grateful for that, that we're able to live on this land that is so fertile and so beautiful. And I'm so grateful, too, that we have such a thriving Indigenous population in this state, and they're proud of it, and we hear about it a lot. So, to me, it's just natural that we would do something like this. It's just a part of what we do every day, right?
Yeah. This sounds like something that you would like to do at your Thanksgiving. What we have found is that a lot of, at least the local tribes around here, if you go to their websites, they oftentimes have something written out so that you can actually read that, so that it's something that they would approve of and support.
Right.
And that's really important.
Yeah, it's respecting and honoring their, what their culture and where they came from and what they've given us. Right? Yeah.
So they talk a little bit also about how can you encourage your family to have a more sustainable Thanksgiving. And we know it can be kind of tough. Tradition, certain things are more important than others, but sometimes people can get kind of upset if a tradition that's important to them is replaced with something else. And so it's having an open conversation about that and talking about sort of what is the reality. We've given you some really kind of sobering statistics here about the waste that happens during Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. And so thinking about how do we have those kind of conversations with our families, and I think offering those suggestions about ways that, and small changes, it's not throw everything out.
I would also recommend that you don't just spring it on people on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So if you're changing a tradition, or if you're trying to just change it up a little bit, like you said, Crystal, to, just little baby steps, if that is what your family will tolerate, right? If that's what they need, let them know like 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time. And instead of telling them, ask them, ask them. I was thinking about changing Thanksgiving this year just a little bit so that it's a little more meaningful for us, and that we have a more of a connection. So what do you think about that? What would you think would be a good way for us to do that? And let them do a little brainstorming.
Yeah.
You might be surprised at how absolutely creative your family can be when it comes to that too.
Yeah. And sometimes even just when you make the small changes, sometimes people don't really even notice. And you could bring that to their attention and say, did you notice? Yeah. And I love engaging them and you could think about what could we do at our next holiday that might be more friendly and kind to the planet. We want to be friendly and kind to each other. And how do we also become friendly and kind with our planet and be more thankful, right?
Yes, we're trying to make a better world, right? So this is one way to do it. It's not just who we are and how we show up. It's, how we take care of that place that we are privileged to live on, right?
Yeah.
So,
and that small changes make a big change. If everyone's making small changes, it adds up. We can reduce.
If we can talk about our friend Jeff McAuliffe, who has always maintained that small moves, incremental moves can make a big difference. I'll never forget bamboo toilet paper. I mean, it's one.
You might have to say that a little louder.
Bamboo toilet paper. Well, it's just one step, right? But same thing goes with Thanksgiving. If you can reduce some of the methane, right, in our landfills, great. And in the process, have fun and be more connected with your family. What could be better than that?
Yeah. Yeah. Helping to reduce that 305 million pounds of food that are wasted.
Just in that day.
In that day. Yeah. I think the last thing that you and I were thinking about too is actually ask people to bring containers so that they can take the food home.
Yes. I don't know about I do know about your family, but I know a lot of families that overcook. They make, I don't know, they call it the holiday and we've got to make all this stuff.
Yeah.
And this is my husband's family's tradition and this is my family's tradition. And you add all of that together and you have a huge amount of food, right? And if you have a lot of guests and maybe they want to have a little bit of Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tell them to bring a container to put their food in.
Yeah.
And that way you're not trying to do that for them.
Yeah. I love that idea. And I think I'm gonna ask people to bring their own containers and maybe almost set it up like a buffet, where people go through and they take what they want, and maybe that's less waste too, because they'll eat what they choose. Yeah.
We'll try to leave a little bit for you guys the next day.
Yeah.
Oh,
So what are you thankful for this year,
oh my
Trisha?
gosh. I have a lot to be thankful for this year. Number one, I have a bestie who I absolutely adore. And you have been just such a great partner in crime all year. I've loved every second. We've had a lot of fun. We've stepped out, done things that we've not done before, and I love that I have someone who has my heart and I have yours, and we actually have a lot of that in common. We like a lot of the same kind of stuff, and we're at least willing to explore if we don't know something, which is great. So I'm very grateful for you always.
Thank you.
I'm grateful to have, I think for right now, I'm grateful to have a job where I work. And I have to say that because, we've really been stewing this year on things that are disturbing about our country. And one of the things that was very disturbing to me was that businesses and universities and other organizations were having to rewrite their mission statements and their visions and their values that were all based on a foundation of equity and diversity and inclusion. And my organization took a stand and said, we're not going to change that because we had embedded it in everything we do. It's our thread. It's our red thread that goes through everything.
Yeah.
And we have leaders who felt very strongly that we need to stay the course. And so no matter what, we stayed the course. And that gave me so much more respect. I mean, I always respected what we did. We do a lot for this region. But the fact that they made that stand makes me want to be there to have their back always because of what they've done for us. Because we have a very diverse workforce. And I think that we have a lot of employees that are feeling relieved that they work there. And so that's another thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that felt really good. It carried me through a lot of the year, even though I felt very out of it so far this year, with what's going on. I also thankful for the fact that I've learned that I can survive without television because I know that's kind of a stretch, but I made a pact I was not going to be watching the news very much. And so I found that I don't really like that much other stuff on television anyway.
Yeah.
So outside of watching the Hallmark Channel and watching Christmas movies, which I could watch every day of the year and I'd be thrilled, that's pretty much what I've been watching. So how about you, Crystal? What are you thankful for?
I am thankful for a lot of the things that I think a lot of people would say, but I'm really thankful for family. We have had a lot of great things going on with the wedding, and my mom and dad are going strong, and we have new people, part of our family, and there's so many good things there. I am thankful for my amazing clients. I really have had just a really good group of people that I've been able to work with this year, and I feel really grateful for that.
Absolutely.
And I've really enjoyed, and part of that work is, I feel like, is, even though it's more joy than work, I think, the podcast.
Oh,
so
I love that.
Yeah. And I'm really grateful for you as my friend and also partner in this possibility.
Thank you. Well, I am also very grateful for this podcast. I'm grateful that we have people who listen. And I think we've had some amazing guests.
Yeah.
People who gave their time, that they didn't have to.
Yeah.
But they gave their time to us and they shared what they feel, right, about whatever their topic is. And that's such a gift. I mean, we don't realize, or a lot of people don't realize how that doesn't have to be, They might get paid for that somewhere else, but they just willingly came here and talked to us about some pretty hefty topics. So I'm grateful for our guests. I'm grateful for our listeners. Totally grateful for this. We have chemistry. And I don't know what else to be grateful for except that we get to keep doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad that you brought up the guests. I am really grateful for each one of them that have given us their time. And I hope that our listeners have really enjoyed them as much as we have over this year. It's been really, it's what gives me hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And we have more fantastic guests coming up.
We do. Yeah. So many things to be thankful for, even though we know that times are tough. There's a lot of things going on in our planet and our country, and but if we focus on those things that do lift us up and we help lift each other up, there is a lot to be thankful for.
Can I be thankful for one more thing?
Sure.
Okay. During this whole thing, when SNAP was on hold and there was no money being paid out to all these people who worked so hard anyway.
Yeah.
There were amazing people who donated time and money and food and clothing, you name it.
Yeah.
And they didn't stop giving, they just kept giving.
Yeah.
So my heart goes out to everybody who has made a commitment to help others in need. It's amazing to know that we live in a country with so many people who are generous. And I'm grateful for that. It's a good example of what we can do when, against all odds, we have to move forward, right?
Yeah.
So thank you to anybody and everybody who donated all of those things to make sure that other people who are doing so much to make our lives okay, we're taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we, of course, love our listeners.
Yes.
We're grateful for every single one of them, every single one of you that spends your time with us.
We'd love to give you each, we'd like to say your name here on air, but we can't because we don't know who's listening.
It's the magic of the whole process,
yes,
isn't it?
Is.
Yeah, but we'd love to hear from you. And you can always reach out to us, give us a comment, or reach out to us on Instagram or Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. How are you celebrating Thanksgiving? And what are you grateful for, thankful for? Yeah. So let's keep that conversation going. If you have questions or comments about the show, you can find us on all our social media channels at lifting_leaders. We have so many exceptional podcast episodes coming up with more fantastic guests. So be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen. And we are on a lot of different platforms, so you can find us anywhere. If you know someone who would find this episode informative or inspiring, share it with them. Text them, email them, or take a screenshot and share it on your Instagram and tag us at lifting_leaders. If you'd like to know more about us, our guests, or the show, please go to our website at liftingleaderspodcast.com. You'll find our show notes there as well. If you're looking for help in developing your leaders or would like a growth opportunity yourself through leader coaching, please contact us through our website. Thank you, and we are thankful for him. Thank you to Ari Chance Roberts for his technical support of our show. Finally, please take 30 seconds and follow us. It helps you because you never miss an episode, and it helps us
because you never miss an episode.
To follow us, go to the Lifting Leaders Podcast Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Then just tap the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner or click on follow. While you're there, if you're willing to give us a 5-star rating and review and share the episode with a friend, we'd be so grateful. Thank you, Trisha.
Thank you. Feeling grateful.
Yes. Many thanks to you, our listeners. We appreciate you. Find ways every day to lift each other up. Have a fantastic week.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.